welcome everyone. This is our fifth call to prayer, and many of you have been to the preceding four. So yeah, we welcome you back. And we're going to be going over some stuff today, and we'll be answering questions as well. So if you have questions, just post them in the channel, and the team is going to copy them into a little doc we've got, so we'll be able to address them after. So good questions, we'll copy, paste, and save. And yeah, I think that's it. Anything else, Decent, you want to say before we get into it?
No, 100%. Drop any questions you like, and let's talk.
Yeah, Lucifer, you want to say anything? You guys want to hear a robot voice? You probably won't speak.
All right.
Okay, cool. Yeah, maybe share the agenda, Decent, then we can go.
Yeah, sweet. So we have no. That's not a voice changer for Lost. That's a mistake. So we have we have quite a few topics that we wanted to talk about today. We wanted to talk about a bit of an update to the. Yeah, get it right, guys. Lost is way older than 12, like 14 now, at least 14, I think. So we wanted to talk about the fire ritual that's obviously been cracking lately. A lot of incense has been burned. We wanted to talk about the opening ceremony and what comes next. We wanted to talk about the plans we had for governance and beginning to handle that. We have something quite innovative in that space. So to the wanted to take this as a chance to begin talking about where we're headed there. And you'll be hearing a lot more about that in the Medium article this week. But we want to drop some alpha here first and answer any questions, see what you think. From there, we want to talk about, the opening ceremony, the release schedule that we've got coming, what we're intending to do on the social governance and also the DeFi and financial side. So quite a lot. They're the topics. Was there anything else that I missed, Lost? Anything else we want to talk about? And no, maybe not. And if you have any questions, just drop them. Good shit already. Keep dropping those questions.
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. Just one more thing is the monthly release schedule stuff. Jason.
Yeah, sweet. So we'll make sure we do that too. Okay, so okay, good shit. There's some good questions already. So a couple of quickies that are here. Are all fire ritualists getting incense? Yes. Yes, they are. And what kind of crypto and tokens can we use to buy Temple at the full moon launch on October the 20th? Frax will be the token that goes into the treasury, but a really helpful community member just whipped up some Solidity code that allowed us to zap from USDC, and that had been suggested from a few people. We haven't got to prioritizing that yet, but when someone goes to the effort of just directly building it for us, it's kind of hard to say no to. So we'll be able to zap at least USDC, probably USDT from the opening ceremony, it looks, but we don't expect to hold those even dirtier stable coins in our treasury. We'll only be holding Frax, which is at least decentralized more than those dirty pieces of nonsense. But you can buy with them, and we'll zap them right into Frax and put it in treasury.
Okay. All
right.
So let's get into the org stuff, yeah?
Let's do it. So you may have picked up, hopefully you've seen in Medium articles, we've talked about this idea of Temple existing as the middle way. You know how the Dalai Lama talks about the middle way? Well, Temple is the middle way. On one hand, we have shitcoin casino spot assets going really high and really low, and it's an adrenaline-filled roller coaster that's fun but crazy. On the other hand, we have stablecoins, some of which are better than others, but they're all still pegged to the US dollar, and the US dollar is becoming worth less every year. So you have to really wonder about how much you want to hold something that's paid with US dollar. You'd be much better off sacrificing it at an altar and exchanging it for something like Temple. And Temple's the middle way. The idea is that it provides a return that is more stabilized yet still growing, something that's providing, growing your bags, it's giving APY, but it's not suffering from the massive ups and downswings of most crypto assets. We wanted to do the same thing on the governance side. If you think about, on one end of the spectrum, there's complete centralized control, and that looks like having,
Facebook,
a boss, a CEO that's Facebook, right? I mean, all of our traditional companies, like this is the mainstream business world. Many of us have interacted with it, and okay, if the CEO is good, like Elon, I like the guy, he's doing some good shit, but it's still totally centrally controlled, and most CEOs are not as legit as Elon, and they end up doing shit like Facebook. So on the other end of the spectrum, we have, what's complete chaos, and maybe MakerDAO is a good example of this, where it's totally decentralized, anyone can vote for anything, but because everyone can vote for every proposal, it's become quite difficult to get innovation and to get things through. Most of the vote holders are disengaged. They don't really want to have to deal with every single proposal that comes forward. And so it becomes really sluggish and slow and stuck, kind of like our democracy. And you don't want either of those extremes. We need something that's a little more thoughtful, a little more sophisticated, and goes in the middle. Just like the Temple mechanics are in the middle of the financial spectrum, we want our governance to be in the middle on this spectrum. So we've put a lot of thought into that, and we've been really inspired by all the good shit that's been happening in the community over these last couple of weeks. We certainly hoped and expected to have a positive response. What I don't think we did expect was the high quality of the response. Like, you guys have seen it. The quality of shit that Templars have been creating and giving to the temple and to the community is blowing our mind. And, if your mind hasn't been blown, you should check out the Deserving channel some more and see the quality of stuff that people are doing in here. It's incredible. And kind of our biggest concern right now is not having the right structure set up so that all of that talent and effort can be best used to grow the community for the whole community's benefit. And that leads us to this idea around enclaves and self-governing communities within the temple itself. And this is roughly how it works. We have 5 different enclaves. Each enclave is grouped by a type of person, a type of personality. So for people that are, really into the mechanics and the policy details and like that sort of thing, it takes a certain type of ape to really want to engage in that sort of thing and really find that fun. Those people have been mostly hanging out in the product talk channels and the Medium post channels today, and there have been some super high quality conversations there. There's some really good questions coming through on that sort of stuff right now in the channel. And then there's other groups of people that have been making some incredible creative works and art and memes, and that sort of stuff's really important and really, really awesome. And there's whole communities around that in Discord, in certain channels. There's some people that have been, really strong in the trolling and the community, different chats, voice verification, and that kind of flavor is the kind of flavor we want to be more able to, manage and support our Twitter, be mods in the community, and so on. It's the social, the community governance side, the community interaction side. Then, of course, we have our engineers actually doing the development work. And we have a last group of people which are kind of being the glue stitching everything together. Lost has been the head glue, making sure that all the communication flows between everyone. And we've had a few people who have been incredible at linking up things, making sure the right information goes to the right people. And those 5 different groups, so there are really 5 different functions within the Temple team right now. And what we want to do is we don't want to make the team special. At the moment, there's a ton of private channels in the background. And we don't want that to remain separate. We don't want that to remain an insider club that the community doesn't have access to. We want to break down the wall between the team and the community. And so to do that, we're basically taking the 5 different functions of the team today, which is, what I described around mechanics, engineering, creative work, social media / engagement work, and organization / weaving everything together work. They're the 5 different functions, 5 different types of teams we have right now. And we want to reorganize the community and the Discord channels into those same 5 different functions. And what that means is that you'll begin seeing these enclaves, these 5 different sections, reorganizing in the community, and a lot of the work that the team's doing begin being done more openly in the community in that way. And just like any good cult, there are ways to rise up the ranks, and a lot of people have been doing some amazing work which deserves to rise up those ranks and be selected as deserving and be selected into the fire ritual. Well, in the future, that will allow people to rise up the ranks and rise up to become a senior member of that enclave, take on more responsibility if they choose, and get paid by the DAO for doing so. So there's no special power that the team has to pick their friends and just be an insider group that's doing the work and getting paid by the DAO for themselves. It's going to be the community that selects what enclave they join, selects the leaders within that enclave that rise to the top, and the top of the enclave is in essence the team, part of the community, part of the groups that are doing the work that we need to build the temple. So let me pause there. Lost people. Am I making sense? What needs to be explained some more? How does that sound so far?
No, it's good. I think one thing I'll get into is, because a lot of people ask questions a lot. It's like, how do I get incense? How do I get incense? And there's this idea of what can I do, right, for the temple and TempleDAO to be rewarded or be considered a contributor? Because as you all know, the fire ritual is really based on this contribution-based model, right? But we kind of want to expand that, just forever, right? And not everyone's going to get incense in the fire ritual because this is ending, right? And that's going to close the door. But this whole idea that anyone can join the Discord in TempleDAO, get verified, and then find their place, right? So if someone, for instance, we've had some people show up just recently. Use one example, Panda. Panda's really into data, and he's really into numbers and stuff. And he's a very natural fit for the enclave of the product, we're using the term enclave of logic. But he's a good example. Someone can show up and they can just start adding value and contributing in that particular enclave. And, pretty soon they'll become an apprentice enclave or an apprentice, whatever, right? And if they keep working and helping out, the very top rung of that is they're part of that team, right? That's solving those problems for the DAO and creating the products, right, that we're releasing. And so this kind of idea that anyone can join Discord and eventually, as they move up the ranks, right, based on their contribution, eventually they can have a full-time job doing it if they want to go that far, right? And then there's everything in between, right? There's probably small rewards for just contributing in a small way, but this idea of the journey, right? Every Templar can choose their path and their journey. And that's the way the whole organization is run, is like, we may have more than 5 enclaves pretty soon, but you know, you all have the theme and they have a direction, and they're all producing the works that we need to make this project successful long term. And so, again, it's coming back to that like community first, contributor first model, because we really want like basically everyone that's earning Temple tokens from a team point of view are like the biggest contributors, right? And people that are contributing in like a small way are getting some sort of benefit, right? Like the deserving channel is an example of that at the moment, but we want to continue expanding that. So yeah, it's like breaking down this wall between internal team and community. It's like one spectrum, you know, someone that just wants to be part of Discord and not really contribute, like that's fine, you know, they can be whatever. But if someone wants to go full-time Temple for the rest of their life, they can do that too. And it's just everyone can choose their level of involvement, so to speak, and path, right? So yeah, that's all I have really to add, decent on that. I mean, I could see us segueing into the monthly releases and how that works with the enclaves, you know?
Yeah, good idea. There's some good questions related to this too. So, you know, could someone be part of multiple enclaves? Yes. You know, the basic idea here is that instead of allowing every single policy decision be voted on by everyone, it's allowing people to vote for the leaders in each community, in each aspect of the community. So we can elevate the people, like Lost is saying, the people that are really great at any aspect of Temple, be it creative, engineering side, the mechanisms and logic side, elevate the people that are the best in that get recognized by the community, elevate them from the community, by the community to leadership, and allow those people then to have the power to make decisions and drive the product forward in the best way for the whole Temple, for the Templars. So, yes, you could rise up in multiple enclaves if you choose one primary enclave that you resonate with most, but you can be part of more than one. And the other question I saw out there around, you know, decisions on investing the treasury funds and things like that. So these are the sorts of decisions that would be decided upon, you know, in that case by the enclave of logic, you know, deciding about the mechanisms and policy decisions. So if you're interested in stuff like that, you may want to get involved in the enclave of logic and throw in suggestions and vote on, you know, things like where we handle our treasury, what changes we make to policy settings in the protocol, what kind of expansions we do in the mechanics, etc., etc. So lots of opportunity, and we have lots of ideas, of course, on all these topics too that we've been building out in the background, but we want to open source this whole thing. So next, monthly releases.
Yeah.
So this whole enclave thing, it kind of gives you an org structure. It kind of gives the whole community the ability to be the organizational structure and allow a really community-driven approach to hiring, essentially. And we think that's great because there's so many awesome people in the community. We want there to be no bottleneck in talent rising to the top and contributing. And the other thing that you need is a bit of structure around the way that the work is organized. You know, if we allow people to rise up to the top of the enclave, but it's not very clear then how you make something happen, then it's still going to be bottlenecked. So what we also have done is created a structure around the way that projects get created in Temple and the way that innovation essentially gets rolled out and released into production. And of course, we can't just release things on any regular day. It needs to be an auspicious day to make sure that the gods are really aligned with our release. And so we'll be looking at a monthly release that ties in with the moon cycle to make sure that our releases are really, you know, bang on the alignment with the temple deities. And what that means is that every month there'll be a new release that will do a few things. It will look at improving the social engineering side. I really like that phrase. I pulled that from some of the awesome tweet threads that Templars have been creating. It'll be looking at the social engineering side, which is an example of which is the enclaves. How do we organize the community better? How do we structure the team better? How do we incentivize the right kind of actions and disincentivize the wrong kind of actions? And oh yeah, definitely not a call, bro. No way. Only the best calls are here. So we want to look at improving the social mechanics. We want to look at improving the DeFi, the financial mechanics. So each month we'll be looking to make improvements there, adding capability, in our smart contracts, in essence, improving the ability for us to expand on that front. And we also want to invest in the middle ground. So what we've talked about here on the enclaves is primarily an organization. And what we've talked about on the DeFi side is primarily interactions you can have on Ethereum, right? Financial-based interactions. And we want to bridge the two together. We want to make sure that the activity on Discord and the rising up in the ranks on the enclaves and participating in the community leads to more opportunity on the DeFi side, more rewards that the temple can give to you if you give to the temple. That's the principle that we always want to follow. And during the fire ritual, the way that we follow that is that we opened up some space for all the people that had been creating amazing content, all the deserving people that were, giving the temple gifts of art, gifts of memes, gifts of suggestions, gifts of connections. And I don't know the percentage, but the vast bulk of the fire ceremony is people that have come to us and said, hey, I wanted to help out in this way. And we rewarded them with some incense and some access to fire ritual. Once the fire ritual's over, we want to continue rewarding people that are giving to the temple and letting them grow. And so, exactly, Veroxus. The more effort put in, the more rewards. That's what we want to make happen. And so to do that, we need to make sure that there is a link between the enclaves and the Discord and the social engineering and the DeFi and the mechanics and the rewards that are given on-chain. And the way that we're going to do that is to build out, in true temple style, a sophisticated and not standard at all ritual system. Because we're not a cult, we're going to make everything be done through rituals. And the very first ritual was the fire ritual, and it was a prototype, you could say, for allowing people to participate in the very first wave of sacrificing frax for temple. The opening ceremony will be the second ritual, and it will be more sophisticated, more complicated, and continue to reward participation and engagement. So the people that have given the most, of which there's many, and have engaged, will be noticed by observance, because observance is always watching. And those people are most likely to begin the ritual of the opening ceremony first. But the opening ceremony will be open to everyone. So anyone that engages on Discord and solves the puzzles and participates in the community in a positive way will be able to find their way into the opening ceremony. If you find your way into the opening ceremony, you'll probably begin to get some instructions on what you need to do that comes next. And if you manage to solve those puzzles and complete the ritual and help grow the temple, then you'll be given the opportunity to sacrifice frax for temple. So Zara, yeah, just for fire ritual Templars, 100% true. Are we squid gaming these puzzles? kind of yes, but also kind of no. You get a ton of incense, please send it this way. So you get the idea, right? I mean, we don't want to give all the alpha here. You're going to have to solve the ritual. This is not going to be super straightforward. It's going to require a little puzzle solving, and people, it's going to be possible for everyone. There's no cap on this. Every single person in the world, if they wanted to join Discord and they wanted to do the right actions to earn the right roles in Discord and then get through the rituals, they would be able to sacrifice frax for Temple. But if you don't do that, if you just rock up and you try and DM me or Lost or Lucifer or anyone and say, hey, I've got a ton of money, I'd like to give it to the temple, we'll say, sorry, are you in Discord? Do you have the role? Because we're not just gonna cut you a deal, bro. You've got to play the game. You've got to get on the ritual. You've got to be part of the community. You've got to earn your rewards. So the idea behind it all, exactly as you guys are saying, we love the community that's developed around this, and we want to double down on this. So we could, of course, open up the temple mechanics and allow anyone to just buy on chain by rocking up with a MetaMask wallet and click a few buttons. And sure, we'd probably collect a lot of money into Treasury very quickly if we did that. But what kind of community would we develop? Like how lasting would that be? Where would we go to from there? And yeah, let's play a game. Exactly. We're not really interested in the pump and dump. We don't want the money to flow in so quickly. We want to make this grow steadily over time. We want to develop the most feverish cult in DeFi, and that's where we're headed. We're just beginning by this, and we think if we can create the right kind of sophistication in Discord that encourages the right behavior, allows anyone to rise to the top of the enclave and contribute, and if we can then make that mean something, so that if you participate more, you get access more. And if you get more access, you get more opportunity to invest, to grow your bags, to earn EPY, then, we think that's going to attract the right kind of people. And if some people say, fuck this is too much work, I don't want to talk on Discord, I just want to give you my money, then, fuck you, go find somewhere else to give your money,
Excellent. Yeah, so, I mean, I missed it. Did you say that the fire ritualists would get a little head start? Did that you covered that?
Yeah, so the time limit for this puzzle will be like 2 weeks. It'll kick off on the 20th, 21st, and it will go for 2 weeks from there. And the first start of it will be to get the first roll that kicks off the ritual. And I won't say too much about what comes next, but once you get the first roll, which, I'm not even going to tell you what the name of that roll is, but once you get that roll, the ritual process will kick off, and you'll be able to engage in a journey that will probably take a few days to complete. Not a huge amount of time, but it will take a few days to complete. We're not looking for grinding here. We're not looking for people that win because they just get their addiction to the screen over and over again, grinding out some stupid game. But we want puzzles, we want engagement. So that will kick off, and there'll be a criteria for getting that first roll. What we can say is that the fire ritualists will definitely get that roll. They've already, so they'll get the roll. That's one criteria. The second criteria that will be on equal playing field with the fire ritualists is the people that have been really active in Discord in a high value way. Observance is always watching, and Observance is far more sophisticated than these 6. It's not a post-rank count, but we have an automated way of tracking engagement in Discord that captures the quality of engagement, not the quantity. and the people that meet a certain threshold above that will also be in the first round of access for the opening ceremony. Then there'll be a third way to access, which means that for people that maybe haven't had as long a period of time to be high quality active in the Discord and haven't been around for long enough to be selected for the fire ritual, still have the ability to earn their way into the opening ceremony and get the first roll to kick it off. So it's possible to earn that, in a short amount of time in Discord, but you'll have to figure out how. So being a fire ritualist, being a high quality engaged member of or solving a yet to be solved puzzle in Discord are the three ways that you'll be able to get into the, and it's available to anyone to do so.
Okay, awesome. Do you want to talk to Ethan also about the daily cap or how that works?
Yeah. So once you get through to the end of the opening ceremony ritual, and if you complete that and you've had some fun, sacrifice some frax for temple and enter the temple, then you'll be able to do so. And there'll be a cap. We're still deciding on the number for that cap, but it'll be something that's 5 digits. It'll be something 5 digits in terms of USD that per person can buy at the end of the opening ceremony. But if you want to buy more and you want to double down on your bag and grow your stack in temple, then you'll be able to come back the next day and come back the day after and come back the day after that, and the cap will grow on those days. So there'll be plenty of opportunity for people that want to buy larger stacks at this point. We've had a lot of requests from people desiring to do so. But what we don't want is someone, dropping $10 million in on the very first moment of the opening ceremony, because we want to make it more fair for everyone that buys in to buy in at a lower price, because the more money that comes into treasury, the higher the price rises. So to balance that out, we've put everyone on the same playing field and have a generous cap that is able to buy a certain amount in. And don't worry, Zara, if you want to drop 3 figures, that's totally fine too, and that's why we're making it this way, so that everyone can buy in with as large or a small amount as you like, but everyone will get a chance to buy in with a moderate amount, and then people will be able to up their stake and buy bigger and bigger amounts over the days. So that's the way it's going to play out.
Yeah, so it's basically making it available to everyone. Because right now, as you guys notice in the dashboard, the OTC price is going up every day as treasury grows, and intrinsic value is growing up every day. So we just want everyone to be able to participate each day, basically, right? And every day the price is going to go up. So it's just trying to flatten that across everyone per day.
Yeah, awesome. So Blind Squirrel, in terms of the limit per wallet address, well, we naturally have a limit on that. In order to buy, you've got to go through, get into the ceremony, you have to solve certain puzzles on Discord and go through this process. So if someone did that on multiple accounts, look, I'm not saying it's impossible, but the effort is pretty great. And, we think that there should be a more natural limit to, people hacking it in that way, because unless it can be decently engaged on multiple accounts, you're not going to be able to get in. So hopefully we've got a little bit of a natural hedge against it to just slow things down a little bit and allow everyone a fair chance to get into the temple on similar terms.
Okay, sweet.
Awesome. So
maybe we should hit the questions for a while, or what?
okay. Yeah, maybe we should hit some questions and juicy stuff, but we're getting a backlog of great questions.
You want to start at the top of the list we got there? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Should we go to this list?
Yeah.
Alright, would you want to call out questions, Lost, and we'll hit them?
Yeah, so you see Zarathustra's one there? Any details on the vault structure?
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Okay, so does the main temple... Do the other vaults feed some percentage fees into the temple vault? Does the temple vault hold future? 3 good questions. So, first question, the main temple vault does not have multiple risk profiles. It is designed to be super safe on the treasury side and allow people to grow with a only up intrinsic value and growing through EPY, which is only possible if we keep the risk profile on the assets on the inside super low risk. Other vaults, being able to stake ETH or other spot assets that are more volatile, will have a different risk profile and will help grow the treasury and grow. But those other vaults are not released yet, and they're going to be in the roadmap. And that roadmap, as talked about, is ultimately going to be decided by probably a lot of it by the order of logic, deciding the mechanisms that we want to prioritize next, because we have quite a lot of things here. Do we focus on an ETH vault next? Do we focus on further? Well, I might pause there, but we have quite a few very interesting and promising ways to continue to grow the Treasury Vault in terms of fees and other expansion of mechanisms. And we've made a bit of progress on a number, and we'll be looking to turn to some of the enclaves to help us prioritize which ones seem most exciting and interesting to the community over the next little while. So right now we don't have those, but it may well be coming in time if that's the direction the community wants to take it. And does the Temple Vault hold multiple assets in the future? Yes. I mean, in the future, anything can happen, right? The treasury. However, our intent is also to keep the treasury very safe because we want this intrinsic value going up. So if we take riskier assets in, we will be accounting for them in a very conservative in terms of how much rewards are able to be minted off the back of them, because we don't want that intrinsic value to decline. So again, this will be a policy discussion that we can have, but for now it'll just be frax. And probably as a second priority, getting yield on that frax. And then as a third priority, getting different assets.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so question, are all fire ritualists getting incense? Yes. So we haven't exactly offered incense to everyone who's been fire ritualed. So, that should happen over the next few days. Like, for example, the deserving is one list of people that still need to hit up, but they're not the only ones. But most people, like if you're not a deserving person and you haven't got word about incense in the next 48 hours, you can start DMing me or the cleric. Like we had a small problem yesterday with one Templar. So there's we've made a couple mistakes. But in general, if you're not deserving, you should have been informed by now, or you will be in the next 48 hours. So, but yeah, if you're fire ritualists, you're in. You want next one? That's pretty big. Decent.
Yeah, awesome. Treasury assets, fire ritualism. We can all easily see on Panda's June dashboard. Thanks, Panda. Legend. What are the current thoughts on additional assets can be purchased or held? Varying risk-adjusted tranches, opening ceremony. So that's very similar to what I answered, actually. The varying risk-adjusted tranches will be further vaults or products that can be launched, essentially other staking opportunities in things other than just frax. And for the opening ceremony, they will be released. So what we're prioritizing for the opening ceremony, one, the community and social engineering. We want to make sure that we've got the right structure here to draw on all the talent, people, and the delivery set. And then two, we'll be focusing on the liquidity, which we can explain more about, and getting that solution spot on. And three, looking at our price stability mechanisms. We've got some further innovation there. And four, on this, what we're calling the Discord to chain ritual system, which is what we just talked about there around the months. And the organization structure, the social engineering, has on chain and in terms of the rewards you get. So there are current priorities that we're focusing on the opening ceremony, which, as you can see, is quite a lot. And then we'll have the enclaves up and running. Next release, which will be 6 weeks after the opening ceremony, and after that, 4 weeks on the new moon. We'll be discussing, what we prioritize for the next release, which could be any of those things. In deploying assets, we've got a bunch of initial thoughts on where we deploy assets for additional revenue streams. We've also had a bunch of suggestions from the community. So post-opening ceremony, as the treasury is growing, we'll be doing more of that. And absolutely. What other tokens and coins can we use to buy Temple? So at the moment, only Frax, but we're probably going to have the ZAP on buy implemented so that people can use USDC if they choose. A good idea to get rid of those dirty. Sonson, can you please clarify how buying will work? It's been conflicting posts, only those with stake Temple. No, so the previous post said that those with stake Temple will be able to buy on the protocol. We have changed that a little bit because there's just so many awesome people in the community, and we wanted to allow everyone a fair chance at getting into the protocol rather than buy some initial Temple there, stake it, and then get access to up yourself through the protocol itself. So that's right. Hopefully I've clarified that already in what I said around the way the opening. The process begins in Discord. We've prioritized engagement and the right incentives to make sure that anyone that is a honest, faithful Templar will get access to the opening ceremony.
Yeah. Okay, sweet. One question, Scoop Rinder. Will Enclaves put out decisions to be voted on by wider community? Are we using a snapshot style weighted by own token approach to this? Yeah, so I think the immediate future is, one thing we want to do is make it a bit dynamic. So for example, we don't really have a bot built for this yet, but pretty quickly, let's say you're in the order of, the Enclave of Logic. That's code name for one of them at the moment, all product stuff. And you're active in there, and people are like, wow, this guy's awesome. Or girl. You could use a little, the existing senior members of that Enclave could use a little, exclamation mark, some sort of text code to kind of boost that person, right? The same way we boost a server, you can boost someone, and if someone gets enough boosts, they'll move up to the next rank, right? And then someone can also use a command to see the org chart of that Enclave. And so I think in the beginning, the decisions are really going to be made by the senior members of the Enclave, right? But anyone can be promoted into that or demoted based on what's going on. And so it won't really be a snapshot style thing at the moment because anyone can buy tokens, right? It may be a snapshot style thing based on your role, right? Let's say there's 10 people with a specific role, which is senior member of that Enclave, or they're an apprentice member of that Enclave. It might be polling, snapshot style polling with that, but it won't be kind of a global thing, no. And there may be some decisions that we'll make that are wider community for sure, but Enclave specific, it'll be really Enclave, the core members of that Enclave, but it's open to anyone being part of that, right? So if you have any more questions on that, you can post in the channel. But will these boosts be made public? Yeah. So like the org chart. So we're actually completing the org chart right now, as it is currently broken down by enclave. So we're actually going to publish that, probably make it visible, but we want to make it possible in Discord for it to be very dynamic, because right now it's like a Google Doc that, or a Google Sheet that we're updating. But yeah, so the boost will be made public, but there's going to be constraints around it, right? Like no one can boost. Like if you're just a regular Templar, like your boost, will actually probably be less important than like a senior member of that enclave, like boosting, right? So something like that. But yeah, we'll have to set up a system so it works really smoothly, and that people, you can't really hack it. Like you literally have to be like a contributor and recognized as one by the people that are already in that enclave and running that enclave. So I think that's one way it'll be kind of oriented. And yeah, observance will probably have calling out fake boosts or whatever. For engineering group, do you have more than enough Solidity developers? As far as I heard, I mean, decent, let me know, but I think we're still looking if Butler's on here. We're having conversations with Solidity developers actually all the time, so I think that's ongoing at the moment.
Yeah, the three main areas on the engineering side, one is Solidity dev, 2 is front-end work, and 3 is, data analytics and kind of Discord dev. Because, as you can see, we're talking about the social engineering mechanism. We want to automate the whole thing and make it available to use so that no human is the gatekeeper. And that means, there's quite a lot of work to do on this, data science-y, Discord-based bots like observance that, create the mechanisms and incentives that then get bridged to the chain and then link in with the Solidity dev work.
Yeah, so one thing we're going to do... Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, yeah.
On the ritual side, I guess, on the more side, there's also a bit of work emerging on more of a game day, making these rituals more and more interesting.
Yeah, so we could probably announce people, like, what we're going to do is we're going to reorganize Discord pretty quickly. So you'll see that with a new Medium article coming out. And then each enclave will have like a statement somewhere of like, almost like a hiring thing or like things we need or whatever. So, but that's going to be drawn from the strategies. So like, for example, we have the upcoming ceremony, or sorry, opening ceremony upcoming. So that's the immediate thing we're working on. And we also have the follow-up ritual, right? That's happening the next moon cycle after that, or whatever it is, 6 weeks after that. And so each of these releases are going to have requirements, right? And then the requirements will be stated. And then that's when the community members can really get involved, because it's like every month there's like new stuff that needs to be built, right? Or completed. And either existing enclave members will do it, or like our up and coming enclave members will do it. But yeah, so that'll be the way to pay attention, is look to what's needed and we'll publish it. We haven't done a great job of that so far. We've been kind of busy, but we'll get better at it. And then those are all opportunities for people to be involved, right, in different ways. That's one path for sure, yeah.
100%. We had another good question here around liquidity. Should we cover that one next, Lost? Are there any more questions that on this theme?
I think we're cool. Yeah, I would talk that and maybe roadmap of it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That then roadmap. Let's hit it. So, liquidity. The plan here is as follows. We're going to have a liquidity pool, which is Temple, that's going to be owned by the Temple at first, partly by necessity, because initially everyone that has bought Temple currently has their Temple locked, for at least 2 weeks after the launch of the opening ceremony, 2 to 4 weeks. and people coming into the opening ceremony, will initially likely have their temple locked for a short period of time as well. No one has any temple to contribute to the LP yet. So if we want to launch a liquidity pool, it obviously has to come from the temple itself. And, many OHM fans out there will also appreciate the value of owning your own liquidity and a good stake in that. So we will be launching a liquidity pool that is owned by the protocol at first, and we're currently weighing up a few options about how to grow that. It's either that we will incentivize staking liquidity through Temple tokens and also probably FXS tokens, a joint incentivization between Frax and Temple for people to add some liquidity. And the second option will be that we will be deploying more liquidity ourselves. In Rugged Capital, excellent question. So we are currently talking with our team about deploying a pool that would be Temple owned. And we absolutely, well, I wouldn't say absolutely, I guess this is going to be just down the track. We will launch a feature on Olympus Pro and have a liquidity buying solution on there. The reason why we won't do that immediately at launch is because we don't want to create another way for people to buy Temple, through Olympus Pro at first. We want to drive all of the ability to buy Temple through the rituals and through the community to incentivize that kind of behavior. If we launch on Olympus Pro immediately, we'll have another channel where anyone can buy Temple without knowing anything about Temple and without really being engaged. So for that reason, Olympus Pro doesn't fit us straight away. But in time, as we continue to open up more and more, then we will end up with the partnership with Olympus Pro, which we're really excited about doing as another way to raise more treasury funds and grow an OHM, possibly in an OHM Temple pair. So that's why not yet, but that's why probably soon. And we already have, as you know, each harvest, 15% of the harvest goes towards the liquidity pool, and that amount is accumulating there, either into liquidity ourselves. So expect more details on liquidity, but that's the way it's going to make it so far. I saw a really great no fees, can have different fees for Temple members, fees, vault. I don't know, just throwing something out there. Well, it's very interesting what you threw out there, because we have looked at exactly this question and we have a bit of a plan. We can't drop too much alpha right now. Drawing it out of such a great comment, but let me just say this. We have some really unusual price stability mechanisms. To flip from the social side to the DeFi side for a second, we have some really unusual mechanisms to stabilize price on the upside and on the downside. We've got a bot that we've been exploring that will help enforce that price ceiling and also provide some further support on the downside. But when you think about it, maybe it's better off not to have a separate bot, but instead build a custom AMM that has the bot built into it. And if you control the AMM, you can do things, enforce a price ceiling in a really hard way, or create all sorts of customizations. And if you do that, then maybe it's not that difficult to open source that to the broader DeFi community. Hey, if anyone wants to play around with coins that are able to be price stabilized in this way, then maybe this can be a gift from Temple to the broader community, given that we need to build it for ourselves, and that could be another source of fee revenue generation for the Temple. So these are very, you keep it to yourself, Templars. This is some serious early stage alpha that's being dropped here. So shh. But it just was such a great comment that maybe we should give a little bit of a hint. This will need to be prioritized by the community, and we don't know whether that will be the next priority that we build on, but it's 100% something that we could do. And the reason to prioritize it, if we did, it's a smarter way to implement our policy price controls. And if we're going to build that anyway, then let's take advantage of that. Let's help grow the DeFi ecosystem more broadly, and let's use it to grow treasury as well. So, okay, Lux, I've said too much. So,
Stop.
If you want to be part of the logic team, then all right, I'll say no more.
How will the lending aspect work? I mean, decent. You got some words on that?
Oh yeah, lending. So do you mean like borrowing against Temple collateral? Is that what you mean by lending, crypto? Hopefully you can communicate through slow mode. Need confirmation.
Slowed.
He's slowed. Come on. Can someone else answer it for him? Is that what he meant?
Someone say yes.
Give a reaction to blind squirrel, crypto. You gotta give a thumbs up if the answer is yes to borrowing.
Okay, someone's over.
Is that what we're going for?
Yeah.
Okay.
He said yes.
Okay, so yes. Okay. So I think this is community deciding that you
Still typing.
yes. So so you will we're in talks with one lending platform to spin up something. We haven't yet talked to all the options here, but we absolutely can. As you said, base potato, it's going to be super easy. What we've just been wanting to finalize is the structure of the the staking token receipt. So if you so right, that's good. So if you I see a whole new wave of memes. So love you guys. Absolutely. So in short, yes, you will be able to borrow against your Temple. You'll be able to degen, leverage up, and multiply in that way. It's a little complicated because of the fact that Temple is complicated. So the reason why it's not as straightforward as others is because of things like we have an exit queue, right? So if the lending partner wants the ability to Temple, if they need to do that against your borrowings, they can't. They'd have to pull the Temple out of the exit queue in order to get it and sell it. Unless we open up a special ability for liquidate. But if we did that, we could only let them liquidate the intrinsic value of the Temple, not the AMM price. Yeah. So there's a few considerations like this that we want to talk through with some of these partners, and we're absolutely willing to develop a custom, whatever on our side that helps integrate with Temple, that still keeps the protocol features that we have fair for everyone, execute, stake Temple, giving higher rewards to people that participate and solve the puzzles and, survive the cult rituals / Squid Games. We want to make sure that we have the ability to do that at the same time as making it interoperable and allow people to borrow against it. So hopefully that answers your questions. That's what we're working on right now. Ways of solving it, so it's 100% going to happen. If you have any suggestions or thoughts or things to see, if there's any particular, protocols or any particular options that you want there, throw it in the chat. Come to Product Talk and let us know. And yeah, it's coming.
Okay, awesome. It's actually time, so I have to cut it.
Okay, well, good chats, fam. LFG.
Yeah, thanks everyone. So just a quick timeline. October 20th, you all know, end of the fire ritual. And then very shortly after that, opening ceremony ritual begins. So that's all going to happen before the next call to prayer. So yeah, off we go. And then we'll publish more details about the timeline in an upcoming Medium post here. But yeah, on track.
Oh, did someone make questions about NFT? Oh, well, there's all sorts of stuff to talk about on NFT. Oh. Teaser, right at the end here. We're running out of time. There's nothing we can do. Nothing. We have to stop.
Non-fungible temple. Yeah.
You've got enough alpha for one day. You could...
Yeah.
You'll have to join the Enclave and help us. One more. Yeah, you'll have to join the Enclave and on the inside, the inner sanctums of the Enclave is where all the alpha generates. So you'll have to get in there, and then you'll know firsthand.
Perfect.
Right.
Alpha Enclave, yeah. Okay, thanks so much, everyone. Appreciate it. So we'll see you in Discord and look forward to it.
Awesome.
Okay, bye.
Ciao, fam.